So I've been looking for a Model 417 Walnut Hill for a few years now. And over the past few years, I've passed on quite a few of them, usually due to one or two reasons. Either the condition is too far from original that I'm looking for, or the prices that they were commanding were just crazy in my opinion. About 5-6 years ago, the demand for the Stevens older rifles started picking up, and before you knew it, these things were drawing crazy money. When I first started collecting, I could find these for in the $600-700 range. You're lucky to find one for $1,600-1,700 now today. And if you do, it's not going to be in as decent shape as this one is. But my patience worked out, I persevered, and I picked up this beauty within this last week, and I paid a lot less than I dropped out of bidding wars in the past over. So pretty darn happy with it. A little bit of background or history on it. It is a Stevens Walnut Hill. The Walnut Hill is based off of the Ideal family, or it's a subsect of the Ideal rifle family, which comes from the Model 44. And if you want to break that down a little bit further, that is a subgenre of the 1894 Stevens favorite rifle. So that's where the shape of the receiver comes from, and the action of the falling or rolling block, whatever you want to call it. So what other things can I talk about with it? The Ideal rifles were produced from 1894 to 1916. After 1916, numbers just dropped off and tanked on these things. And it was mostly in part due to bolt-action rifles and repeating rifles and magazine-fed rifles. Single shots were no longer the rave or the craze. The idea of doing this and one at a time, putting something in there, just wasn't sexy or appealing to most people, so they didn't want to deal with it. Other things I can talk about, the model or the family in general is, again, it is based off of the Model 44 family, and this is a Model 44. And if you watch this, when I cycle the lever or the action on this, the rolling block falls back, cycle it back forward, the hammer goes all the way forward. In order to fire this, well, you can squeeze the trigger, but then it's a double action, or you can cycle it back, cock it, and then fire it. With the Walnut Hill family of rifles, when you cycle the action, the hammer goes back, and it stays back, and then it drops. So much lighter trigger, much better, smoother action. Everything tolerance-wise is just better all around. This particular rifle, if it was 100% bone stock, would have come with a Lyman, I believe it was an A7 and an A48 front sight. Someone changed that, over time, and it now has a Redfield Model 75 and a GNS Globe front. One of the really cool things about this particular rifle is, and you're not going to be able to show it or see it here, but I will get a close-up of it, is the trigger here. It has some type of I don't even know what to call it. I've never seen one before, but it is definitely made specifically for this rifle, and I can't find anything in any literature that talks about it, so I'm kind of at a loss. Another thing that I would like to kind of mention with it is that notice with the cocking lever, all right, it has this one, and this was a standard. When you purchase this, if you didn't want that and you wanted the double loop cocking lever, all you had to do was tell Stevens, send me a double loop or a triple loop cocking lever, 3-finger cocking lever actually, and they would put it in the box and send it to you, and you could change it out yourself. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that on this yet or not. I haven't actually fired it. I only got this week. The only thing I've done to it so far has been to clean it, and it really didn't need much of a cleaning. I honestly believe this rifle spent its life either in a safe or as a wall hanger. The bore it's the nicest bore of any of my vintage rifles, without a doubt. And I will put up some pictures of me running the bore scope through it to prove that, but from the breech end where it screws in through the chamber to the initial of the lands and grooves in the centering cone area, there's not a bit of corrosion, and there's no corrosion all the way through it. And the lands and grooves stand out. They're tall, they're stout. I don't think it was hardly ever fired. What else can we talk about with it? It talked about the sights, talked about the trigger. All 417 models came with a set of telescopic sight mounts if you want to put like a Lyman or a Nerdle or one of the longer period correct scopes on it. It also came with the military style butt plate, and it came with military sling loops on it. I don't know. I think that's about it. One small side note I guess I could get into is that this is the 417. This is the 418. It's kind of little brother. These were sold and marketed at the time as a youth and an adult rifle. This is the youth version of it. And if you notice how the action on this, and again these are stiff, and you close it, and the hammer stayed back, and then it dropped. But it's a much narrower frame. It's more similar to the Favorite series than what the frame is on this, if you can see that. So, anywho, model 418 hunting youth rifle. Model 417 adult target rifle. We'll take it to the range and show you what it does there.
I can't remember what they're called, but I went to a natural path at one time, and she said that I had traces. And they had just, we lived in a neighborhood where we had where we paved a
Light strikes.